2001, I get to Quinnipiac University in Connecticut, and September 11th happens, like a week to 10 days into college. I'm there for business, and all of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, money and business doesn't really seem too important anymore. I got like a little depressed, a little anxious. I was having trouble with school, like my grades were dropping a little bit. And I talked to somebody and they were like, hey, man, you got to try this medicine called adderall. And I'm like anything that will help me get my grades together right now. I'm like, let's do it. Started taking it once in a while to study. Noticed that then it became more and more frequently. At around age 26, I want to say, I lost my job. I lost the house that I was living in with a few friends. Like I just couldn't pay rent, so I couldn't re-sign my lease. Had to go back home, couldn't make my car payments, lost my car. So came home that summer, was in like a schizoaffective, like manic state that whole summer, which was really strange because I had stopped taking everything that summer. Like a doctor had said, like, you're done, you're cut off. Like, we can't give you this stuff anymore. It's killing you. As soon as I came off everything, my mind just spiraled out of control. I ended up going out to Los Angeles. I remember the first weekend I was there, it didn't really hit me. I was out on a beach. I had met a few friends and we were walking from Venice Beach up to Santa Monica. And then on the walk back, I remember getting really sad. I thought all the things that I had lost over the last year, all the colleges that I had dropped out of, all the jobs that I'd walked away from, all the people that went out of their way to like help me. I got really, really sad and was up that whole night. And I remember I dug the half a Coke can into my wrist and I was about to pull and I heard like a loud knock on the door. I put a sweatshirt over my arm. I go up to the door and it's to LAPD. They were like, are you Joe Fusaro? I'm like, yes. And they're like, we have searched every hotel in Venice Beach for you. Like, apparently I'd sent a text to an ex-girlfriend like a couple hours before that I wanted to end my life. And she just called LAPD and said, I know that my ex is in Venice Beach, California, and he's staying at a hotel, but I don't know where. And I was kind of in shock from the whole thing and didn't follow through with it. And then spent like a year, homeless and working in hostels and stuff in Los Angeles. And then finally gave up at the end of that year, called my mom at, 27, 28 years old and asked if I could come home. And she booked me a flight and I ended up coming back home and spent the next couple of years in and out of hospitals. That was rock bottom. And then my last hospitalization, they gave me enough meds for like 2 or 3 weeks. And they were like, you need to find another doctor, very soon. And you need to go to them like once a week and until this is figured out. And I started looking through my insurance book and found a nurse practitioner. And I went and saw him, turned out to be the biggest blessing of my life. I think by the third appointment, like once he, saw that, the meds were the problem and that he looked at me like I was a real person. Everyone that I had been going to before was kind of just like checking off boxes, like staring deep into me, like trying to figure out, who I was, like what was I up to. But this guy just saw a person. He just saw a person that was struggling, that, needed some compassion. And I remember he said to me, he's like, Joe, you deserve to be happy. He's like, you deserve happiness as much as anyone else. That's what I needed to hear. And I hadn't heard that, I don't think, in my whole life. After that, he had me doing mindfulness. He had me doing loving kindness and self-compassion with Kristen Neff. And then I got into John Kabat-Zinn's MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction. I realized that breathing and taking care of myself, like I realized that that's what I was missing in my life. It wasn't a drug. It wasn't a chemical. It wasn't sex. It wasn't a high. It wasn't more money. It wasn't anything like that. It was just the ability to like take care of myself and love myself and treat myself good. And I didn't realize that we need to do that before we can treat others that way.